Hello again, and this time we're going to have a look at HTML still, but we're going to add some CSS, some cascading style sheets. In other words, we're going to make our page prettier and easier to do that as well. So I'm going to minimize the screen as I did before. Don't need to see this anymore. And we're going to go straight in using the same tools we did the last session. So here we have trinket.io. Just go to that in your web browser, trinket spelt here, .io. And you can create an account, as we said before, or just do /HTML to start one without creating an account, or you can sign in using any of the features below. But start a new Trinket. And here we're going to go straight to HTML again. And this time I'm going to create my page slightly differently. So here I am, and I will still do the usual things. I'll start the chevron, as we discussed last session, exclamation mark, doc type, space HTML, just to tell the internet what I'm using. Then I'm going to open my chevron and say that I'm going to be writing in HTML. And this time when I close, again, we have our end tag supplied to us. We remember that the majority of tags need an end tag with that / to define it. Otherwise, the style or the tag will continue until you close it. This time, we're going to do something slightly different to yesterday. We're not going to go straight in with the body. We're going to put a head tag in. This is information. I'm going to close that. Press enter. So anything between those head tags is information for the page itself. Now, what we're going to write here is I'm going to put the title into this head tag here. It's information that will go at the top of the page if it was a website. And that would just be defined here at the top when I have these tabs. Then I'm going to go and press enter after the head, and I'm going to start the body of my web page. And I'm just going to put in a H1, a heading tag, and I'm going to close that and write heading. Now, what we didn't have a look at the other day was how would we go about adding some style to this page. Now, one of the easiest ways to add style to the page is to change the font or change the font color. So the easiest way to do that is not the best way, but the easiest way is to go in individually into this H1 tag there, press a space, call it a style, equals with a speech mark, and then I can write in color. Now, this is HTML is an American based language, so we don't have the U for color, annoying, but true. And then we can type in red. And as you can see there, my heading turned red. The only problem with this method is if I stick in another H1 tag here and type in another heading, it's a H1 tag, but it's now different from the other. Now, you might want that, but quite often, if you're dealing with a style of a whole website, you're going to want to keep that style together. So what we end up doing is I don't want to have to keep going into here and copying and pasting every single time I want to do that and stick it in here. I can do, but that's a bit of a pain. So what I'm going to do is not put our styles in here. I'm going to create a completely separate page, and let's see if we can change both of these headings at the same time. So I'm going to press this little plus button here, and naming convention means you call it style.css for cascading style sheet, and that's just a naming convention, very common. You don't have to do that, but that's what it is. But at the moment, these pages are separate. So if I write something in here to do with my style, for example, and style sheets are written slightly differently, I'm going to say H1 space curly bracket, press enter, and you'll see a curly bracket is closed as well. And I'm just going to write color colon blue. And you'll also see there's a couple of conventions there that we haven't seen before. We haven't seen the semicolon and the colon or the curly brackets, but this is how our style sheet is written. And there we go. We've got our H1 tag, but nothing is changing here. Now, the reason that that's not changing is because this page doesn't know this one exists. So in the heading tag and just after, sometimes if you put things in the wrong order, it's not always fantastic. I'm going to start my chevron here, and I'm going to say, let's find a link. And the link is a relative link, which means that it's in the same place as the other page, because you can use folders and other servers to spread your website. But all these files are in the same location. So I'm going to do the speech mark, and I'm going to say it's a style sheet that you're looking for. And after that speech mark there, I'm going to do the reference for that file, href, similar to what we did with the Google link, and then the speech marks again, and the name of that file, style.css. If you get the capitals or any spellings wrong there, it won't work properly. Okay, and you'll see here that my HTML lesson has appeared because what I've done here is not finished off my tag. Okay, and that's what we were saying about if you don't get your chevrons in the right place or use the end tags, strange things can happen. And you'll see now we've instantly got blue for both the headings. So I can go in here and change this to red now. It's now linked to this page and it will change color. We could talk about hexadecimal code for colors, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. You can have specific colors yourself, but ultimately, this is the way that you can change lots of different things really, really easily. Next, we can actually start to change things like the page itself. Now, I could go in this instance and just go in here. I like to keep things in order. I like to, if it's the whole body of the text, I like to do that first. So body, curly bracket, press enter, and the finishing curly bracket ends. And you could do background color, and remember American spelling. And then I could do a really terrible color with my pink here. And look at that awful combination of colors. So you can play around. There's a little bit of design now that we're looking at. But other ways in which you could do this is you could actually split up your page into sections or divide them into sections. And that might help you to sort out how your page looks. So for example, in here, I might want to split up the body of this page, and I might want to say, do you know what? I'm going to put a divider in. Yeah, I'm going to call the page ID, and I'm going to say equals site. And then I'm going to close that, and it gives me a closing divider tag. And then I can put stuff in there. So I might say, actually, do you know what? So this is the whole site. It's the top. Let's put a title in. Chevron, let's do a P tag in here. Title, it's just going to be normal text in there, which is going to look a bit odd. Then after this site, or this one, I might actually say, do you know what? I would like a navigation on the left-hand side, a menu bar. So I start, put in my div tag, say ID, because I want to call this something on the side. And I'm just going to call it left using speech marks. And then I'm going to press enter. And then I'm going to have menu in here. So I'll just do a P tag for the moment, just so I know where I am. Okay, menu. And at the moment, it's not on the left. It's not. I'll do another one after the div tag. So don't get your divs confused. We've talked about those sandwiches. You want to keep them different. There we go. And here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick in another one just for the left. So div, and I'm going to say, oh, didn't give it a name in here. So let's give that ID equals right. Now this will start to make sense now. You might be thinking, what are you doing? And I'm going to say content in here. P tag for that one. I don't want to make something there. So there we go. So P tag and content. So I have a title, a menu, and content. I've called it left and right, but nothing seems to be happening. I'm going to get rid of these headers in here. And then I've got a page that I want to move around. Now, what I would do, because I've given them an ID, is this time when I go into style, I'm going to go in and I might want to get rid of these now because they might be slightly confusing. And I might want to say to myself, I'm going to use the hash key and say site, because that was the ID. Going to press the enter. And this time I'm going to say background color colon, and I'm going to say light blue, And you'll see there, you can't just name things, okay? You might want to put them together like that. There we go. Just be careful. There are specific names for some colors. You can't just write in anything you want. Some colors have specific names like salmon or something like that. And you can see here that only the title is colored now. And the reason for that is because I've just called it site. I've just said anything within here. So it's really useful. I might actually say that the width of the site using the color is 800 pixels. Usually do way more than that. It's just because of the size of this here. You've got screen resolutions, and we get into that another day. And then we have the left with the space there. And this time on the left, I might say width for the left 200 pixels. There we go. And this time, just to show that there's a difference, I'm not going to be saying this is a good color combination, just to show you there's differences. Background color, and this time I'm going to use aqua. You can see there, again, we've got a different color for the left. And what I'm going to do after that is I'm then going to finish it off and just do the right-hand side. And this is where a tiny bit of maths comes in, but nothing major. If I've used 200 pixels for the left, then for the right, I need the remaining 600 pixels. But I'm going to say there's going to be some issues. If I just say width 600 pixels, there we go. It's not going to behave very well, and I'm probably going to color this as well so we can just check that there's I've got things in the right place. Background dash color, annoying American way, and blue. So we have our three elements colored horribly, but at the moment I've said 200 and 600, so why hasn't it worked? Well, the first thing I need to do here is I want to float this on the side. I want to float it to the left. And that will automatically, as you've seen there, start to rearrange our site. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some people screaming at me saying things have moved on with HTML5, and that's probably true. I need to up my game a little bit here, but this isn't about being an expert right now. This is about introducing you to the code. And as we've said, there are courses at Digital Jersey where you can learn from experts in web technology how to do that. And we run those courses a couple of times every year. So yeah, scream at me all you want. I'm just showing people some very, very big basics. So now as well, that there are some strange things that will happen with the right-hand side. So I want to give it a margin on the left of 200 because I don't want it to interrupt with the left-hand side. Nothing seems to have happened. But it will help later on when things are moving around the screen. And also what we can add in here as well as the pixels is I can say minimum height, because you can see here we've got the blocks. They're not kind of matched up. So I can give something a minimum height so it doesn't look strange for the moment of 200 pixels. Now here we go, we've got that. So we can start to actually put things in our page. And if I want to copy that and stick it into here as well, so I've got matching sides, we're starting to do things. We can see that the words aren't quite matched up. We can see loads of other things. That's because of different ideas that I've put in here. We're just starting the journey. You can see now, though, I've not touched anything in my HTML. All the styling is being done in a separate location to play around with it. And that's what you really want to be doing with your styles. You can argue with me all you want about how that happens, and you'll win that argument. But the idea and the concept of today is that as soon as you link that style sheet, you can then start playing around with your entire site without having to change anything here. Because if we go into the P tag here now and start saying font dash family, and then say Courier, oops, spelled correctly. And we can start to see that I've changed all of the fonts here. I can do font sizes, I can do font colors. You might start talking about color white, maybe. Change those fonts. again, we're starting to do things much more quickly using style sheets. There's a lot to tidy up with the borders here and making things join up. But again, we've run out of time, I think, for today, but you have the idea. And if you want to learn more, as I said, just go to digital.je, go to the short courses and sign up for the web design. So thank you for today. Tomorrow, we'll have a look at JavaScript and how you can do actions on a website. And that will complete the trio. You've got the language of the internet, HTML, and how to make it pretty on style sheets, and then how to use some interactivity with JavaScript. So see you in the next session.